Welcome to EduNinja. This is CAIE IGCSE Physics. Today we are learning moments, pivot, force, and perpendicular distance. Concept first, then real exam questions. Let's define the moment of a force. A moment is the turning effect of a force around a pivot. A force can make an object rotate. The bigger the force, or the farther the force acts from the pivot, the bigger the turning effect. The formula is moment equals force times perpendicular distance. The unit is Newton meters. Remember, measure the perpendicular distance from the pivot to the force's line of action. So, a moment tells us how strongly a force tries to turn an object. Before using the formula, identify three ideas. First, the pivot is the point an object turns around. Second, the force is the push or pull acting on the object. Third, the distance must be perpendicular. That means it is the shortest distance from the pivot to the force's line of action, measured at 90 degrees. In the diagram, the beam rests on the pivot, the force acts downwards, and the dashed line shows the perpendicular distance. In an exam, draw the force's line of action first, then measure from the pivot to that line at a right angle. Remember, pivot, force, and perpendicular distance are the three parts to identify. Let's define the moment of a force. A moment is the turning effect of a force around a pivot. A force can make an object rotate. The bigger the force, or the farther the force acts from the pivot, the bigger the turning effect. The formula is moment equals force times perpendicular distance. The unit is Newton meters. Remember, measure the perpendicular distance from the pivot to the force's line of action. So, a moment tells us how strongly a force tries to turn an object. For balance, the clockwise moment equals the anti-clockwise moment. Choose the pivot, calculate both sides, and when they are equal, the beam stays balanced. Remember, clockwise equals anti-clockwise. Real exam 1. A uniform beam XY is 100 centimeters long and weighs 4 newtons. The beam rests on a pivot 60 centimeters from end X. An 8 Newton load hangs 10 centimeters from X, and force F acts at 80 centimeters. Pause and choose your answer. Now take moments about the pivot. The 8 Newton load has a 50 centimeter arm, while the beam's weight has a 40 centimeter arm. Force F acts 20 centimeters from the pivot. So 8 times 50 plus 4 times 40 equals F times 20. Therefore, F is 22 newtons, option C. Real exam 2. A uniform meter rule is pivoted at the 30 centimeter mark. 6 newtons hang at 0 centimeters and 2 newtons hang at 70 centimeters. What is the weight of the rule? Pause and choose your answer. The rule's weight acts at its center, 50 centimeters, so its moment arm is 20 centimeters. Taking moments about the pivot, 6 times 30 equals 2 times 40 plus the rule's weight times 20. The weight is 5 newtons, option B. Real exam 3, a 20-meter uniform bridge weighs 100 kilonewtons and is supported at both ends. A 24 kilonewton van is 5 meters from the left-hand pillar. What are the two support forces? Pause and choose your answer. Take moments about the left pillar. The right reaction times 20 equals 100 times 10 plus 24 times 5. The right reaction is 56 kilonewtons. The total upward force is 124 kilonewtons, so the left reaction is 68 kilonewtons. That is option C. Real exam 4. A weightless beam is balanced on a pivot with forces P, Q, and R acting on it. Which equation is correct? Pause and choose your answer. Force P acts down on the left at perpendicular distance D, so its moment is P times D. Force R acts down on the right at distance A. Force Q acts up between them at distance B, giving the opposite turning direction. Balancing the moments gives P times D minus Q times B equals R times A. That is option D. Before the final check, use these scoring tips for moments. 1. State the formula. Moment equals force times perpendicular distance. 2. Choose the pivot and measure every distance from the pivot. 3. For balance, set the clockwise moment equal to the anti-clockwise moment. 4. Show the units and give a clear final answer. Final check, pivot, perpendicular distance, turning direction, units, and answer. Keep practicing with real exam questions on EduNinja. Topic by topic practice. Step-by-step solutions. Smart paper builder. Revision notes and more.